Hello, awakened soul. If you've arrived at this video, it wasn't by chance. There's something happening around you that you can't fully explain, isn't there? People close to you, family members, friends, colleagues, seem to create inexplicable conflicts, fights that apparently are about you, but that leave you confused and questioning whether you're really the problem. Maybe you've noticed how certain people act strangely in your presence, as if they're fighting against something internal that they don't even understand themselves. You feel there are lies behind forced smiles, envy disguised as concern, or hostility that comes out of nowhere. And the question that won't go away is, why does this always happen to me? Let me tell you something that will completely change your perspective on these situations. If you identify with this, please leave a comment saying, "I feel this," so I know I'm not speaking alone into the void. What you're experiencing isn't paranoia. It's not your imagination. And it's definitely not your fault. In fact, it's a profound sign of who you really are. These fights, these conflicts apparently about you, these lies about feelings that people can't express honestly, all of this is an automatic reaction to your elevated spiritual nature. You are a catalyst, a living mirror that reflects back to people their own unresolved shadows. Your simple presence functions as a light that exposes what others prefer to keep hidden, even from themselves. And this deeply disturbs them because it forces an internal confrontation they're not prepared to face. Today, I'm going to reveal exactly why this happens, how to recognize the signs of this spiritual dynamic, and most importantly, how you can navigate these situations without absorbing others' toxic energy. Share this video with someone who needs to understand they're not alone in this journey, because together we are stronger. Let's start by unveiling what's really happening when people fight. About you, there's an invisible energetic dynamic that most people don't understand, but that you, as a spiritually awakened being, need to fully comprehend. When you enter an environment, your elevated vibrational frequency creates a kind of spiritual magnetic field around you. This field isn't something you consciously control. It's simply who you are in essence. It's as if you were a radio station transmitting on a higher frequency, and the people around you, tuned to lower frequencies, start picking up interference in their own signals. They feel something different, something that challenges them, but they can't identify exactly what it is. This internal confusion manifests externally through contradictory behaviors, lies about their true feelings, and the creation of conflicts that on the surface seem to be about you, but in reality are about the discomfort they feel with themselves in your presence. Think about your childhood for a moment. You were probably always different, weren't you? Maybe you were the child who perceived things others didn't see, who felt adults' emotions even when they tried to hide them. You might have been labeled as too sensitive, dramatic, or complicated. At school, you may have experienced situations where groups formed against you without apparent reason, where you became the center of gossip or conflicts that didn't make sense. Teachers might have had extreme reactions to you. They either loved you deeply or felt an inexplicable aversion. This wasn't coincidence. Since childhood, you already carried this special light that functioned as a detector of hidden truths. The children around you, not yet conditioned to completely mask their reactions, responded more directly to your energy. Some felt attracted to your authenticity. Others felt threatened by it. You were, unknowingly, training to be the spiritual mirror you are today. During adolescence, this dynamic probably intensified in ways you didn't understand at the time. Maybe you noticed how your relationships were always intense. There was never middle ground. People either connected deeply with you or developed an inexplicable dislike. You may have experienced situations where close friends suddenly turned against you, creating stories or spreading rumors that didn't make sense. Or perhaps you noticed how people shared their deepest secrets with you, as if you were a magnet for confessions and revelations. This happened because your energy was already functioning as a catalyst for truth. In the presence of your light, masks began to fall, and this scared those who weren't ready to see themselves clearly. The conflicts that arose about you were, in reality, reflections of the internal battles your presence triggered in others. You were learning through experience how your energy affects the world around you. Now, as an adult, you probably recognize patterns that repeat in different contexts of your life. At work, you might be that person who, without doing anything extraordinary, becomes the center of complex dynamics. Colleagues may demonstrate contradictory behaviors toward you, praising your work publicly while making negative comments behind your back, or showing friendliness personally, but creating professional obstacles subtly. Bosses may have extreme reactions to your presence. They either immediately recognize your value and potential, or feel an inexplicable need to challenge or diminish you. These aren't coincidences or personality issues. Your energy is constantly mirroring back to these people aspects of themselves they prefer not to face. The colleague who speaks badly of you may be projecting their own insecurity about competence. The boss who challenges you excessively may be reacting to the fact that your presence reminds them of dreams they abandoned or authenticity they lost. In family relationships, this dynamic can be even more intense and confusing. You may have noticed how certain family gatherings become emotional battlefields when you're present, even though you haven't done anything to provoke conflicts. Family members may make seemingly innocent comments that carry heavy emotional charge, or they may create dramas that somehow always end up involving you. This happens because family is where our masks are oldest and most deeply rooted. Your light exposes dysfunctional family dynamics that have existed for generations, behavior patterns that were accepted as normal, but are actually based on fear, control, or denial. When you enter the family environment carrying your elevated frequency, you automatically challenge these established patterns. People feel something is different, but they can't identify what it is, so they create conflicts to try to restore the energetic balance they know, even if that balance is toxic. In romantic relationships, this dynamic manifests in particularly complex ways. You may have noticed how romantic partners often go through phases of intense admiration, followed by periods of resistance or even relationship sabotage. They may lie about what they really feel for you, not out of bad intention, but because their own feelings are confusing and contradictory. Your light attracts them deeply, but also scares them, because being with you means they can no longer hide behind their usual masks. They feel exposed, vulnerable, and this can create unconscious resistance. Fights may arise over superficial issues that, in reality, are manifestations of an internal struggle between the desire to connect with your authenticity and the fear of abandoning the emotional defenses they've built throughout their lives. You're not imagining when you feel there's something deeper happening behind these apparently trivial conflicts. Let's talk about a particularly painful aspect of this experience. When people close to you lie about what they feel for you, this can manifest in various ways. Someone who says they support you but sabotages your opportunities. Someone who claims to love you but constantly criticizes or diminishes you. Or someone who shows admiration in public but expresses resentment in private. These lies aren't necessarily intentional or malicious. Most of the time, these people are genuinely confused about their own feelings. They feel a magnetic attraction to your energy, admiration for your authenticity, but they also feel fear, envy, or inadequacy. Your light makes them question their own choices, their own limitations, and this creates an internal conflict they don't know how to process. So they lie to you and to themselves as a form of emotional self-preservation. It's easier to create a narrative where you're the problem than to face the discomfort of recognizing that your presence challenges them to grow. Disguised envy is another pattern you probably recognize. People may express concern about your life choices, question your decisions in a way that seems caring but carries judgmental energy, or make comments that diminish your achievements under the pretext of keeping you grounded. This isn't genuine concern, it's masked envy. Your ability to follow your own path, to make decisions based on your inner intuition, to live authentically, awakens in these people a painful awareness of how they themselves have strayed from their own truth. They see in you what they could have been if they had had the courage to follow their own inner light. But instead of using this as inspiration for change, they try to diminish your light to feel better about their own limited choices. The caring comments about how you should be more realistic or practical are actually attempts to convince you to lower your vibration to a level that doesn't challenge them so much. There's also the phenomenon of veiled competition you may have experienced repeatedly. People may try to outdo you in areas where you weren't even competing, or they may turn casual conversations into opportunities to promote themselves at your expense. They may copy your ideas, your styles, your approaches, but then deny any influence or even criticize you for doing exactly what they're imitating. This happens because your authenticity awakens in them a desire to have what you have, not necessarily your material possessions, but your connection to your inner truth, your courage to be different, your ability to shine without asking permission. But instead of doing the internal work necessary to develop these qualities in themselves, they try to steal your energy or diminish your light to level the playing field. It's as if they believe there's a limited amount of light in the world, and for them to shine, you need to dim your brightness. Inexplicable hostility is perhaps one of the most disconcerting experiences you face. People who barely know you may develop an immediate and intense aversion to you without any provocation on your part. They may spread rumors, create obstacles, or simply demonstrate a coldness that doesn't make sense considering the lack of history between you. This happens because your energy functions as a spiritual X-ray that instantly exposes these people's unresolved shadows. They feel on a subconscious level that you can see through their masks, and this awakens a primitive fear of being discovered or judged. Even though you've never shown any judgment, the simple possibility that you might see their truth makes them defensive and hostile. It's a self-preservation reaction based on fear of being exposed, not on anything you've actually done or said. You may also have noticed how your presence accelerates healing or crisis processes in people around you. Relationships that were in denial suddenly explode. People make drastic life-changing decisions, family secrets come to light, or individuals go through significant spiritual transformations after spending time with you. This isn't coincidence. Your energy functions as a catalyst that accelerates processes that were already underway at the soul level. You don't cause these situations, but your presence removes the veils that were preventing truth from emerging. It's as if you were a spiritual particle accelerator. You intensify the speed at which people encounter their own truth, whether through healing or crisis. Both are forms of growth, although one is more comfortable than the other. There are moments when you may feel like a magnet for confessions and revelations. People share with you secrets they've never told anyone, open their hearts in ways that surprise them, or find themselves talking about deep subjects they normally avoid. This happens because your energy creates a field of emotional safety, where truth can emerge without judgment. You naturally emanate a quality of acceptance and understanding that allows others to lower their defenses. But this same quality that attracts them can also scare them afterward. They may feel vulnerable for having opened up so much, and as a way to regain control, they may distance themselves from you, or even deny or minimize what they shared. It's not about you. It's about their fear of being truly seen and known. Projection is another mechanism you constantly encounter. People project onto you their own unresolved issues, their fears, their limitations, and then react to these projections as if they were real characteristics of yours. If someone has problems with authority, they may see you as controlling even when you're being collaborative. If someone struggles with self-esteem, they may perceive you as arrogant when you're simply being confident. If someone has abandonment fears, they may accuse you of being distant when you're just respecting healthy boundaries. These projections can be extremely frustrating because you find yourself defending against accusations that don't make sense based on who you really are. But understanding that these are projections, not reflections of reality, can free you from the need to constantly explain or justify yourself. There's also the phenomenon of constant testing you may have experienced. People may challenge you, question your motivations, or create situations to prove something about your character. They may do this consciously or unconsciously, but the energy behind it is always the same, a need to confirm whether you're real or if your light is genuine. This happens because your authenticity is so rare in their world that they can't believe it's possible. They're accustomed to masks and games, so when they encounter someone genuine, their first reaction is distrust. The tests may come in the form of provocations, artificially created stress situations, or attempts to make you react negatively to prove you're no different from everyone else. It's exhausting, but understanding that these tests are more about their insecurities than about you can help you not take it personally. Finally, you may have noticed how your simple existence seems to challenge the established power structures around you. In groups, organizations, or even social circles, your presence can cause changes in the established dynamic. People who were in control may feel threatened, informal hierarchies may be questioned, and systems based on fear or manipulation may begin to crumble. This doesn't happen because you're actively trying to cause changes, but because your energy naturally exposes the artificiality of these structures. You represent a different way of being, an alternative to the power games and control that many people have accepted as inevitable. Your presence proves it's possible to live authentically, and this automatically questions all the compromises others have made within authentic systems. Now that you understand the dynamic behind these conflicts and lies, the question that arises is, how can you navigate these situations without absorbing others' toxic energy? How can you keep your light shining without being affected by the negative reactions it may provoke? These are the questions we'll explore in the next part of this understanding journey. Are you ready to discover how to transform this sensitivity into your greatest power? The first and most fundamental understanding you need to integrate is this: people's reactions to your energy are not about you, they're about them. When someone lies about what they feel for you, when they create conflicts, apparently about you, or when they demonstrate inexplicable hostility, they're reacting to the mirror you represent for their own unresolved shadows. Your mission is not to heal these people, convince them of your goodness, or modify your energy to make it more palatable for them. Your mission is to remain authentic in your journey while learning to protect your sacred energy. This means developing a deep understanding that you're not responsible for others' emotional reactions, even when these reactions are directed at you. It's like being the sun. You can't control if someone chooses to wear dark glasses or hide in the shade when you shine. You simply continue shining because that's your essential nature. Practice daily the affirmation, "I radiate my authentic light," and allow others to respond according to their own level of consciousness. The second crucial step is learning to establish healthy energetic boundaries without becoming defensive or closed off. There's a subtle but important difference between energetic protection and emotional isolation. Energetic protection means creating a conscious field around you that filters negative energies while allowing love and genuine connection to flow freely. This can be done through daily visualizations, where you imagine yourself surrounded by a golden light that repels toxic energies but attracts authentic connections. When you feel you're absorbing others' negativity, stop immediately and take 3 deep breaths, visualizing this golden light expanding and purifying your energetic field. Establish clear boundaries about how much time you spend with people who consistently drain your energy, and don't feel guilty for prioritizing your inner peace. Remember, you can't serve the world from an empty cup. Taking care of your energy isn't selfishness, it's spiritual responsibility. The third essential element is developing discernment about when it's worth trying to clarify misunderstandings and when it's better to simply walk away. Not every battle needs to be fought, not every projection needs to be corrected. When someone is projecting their own issues onto you, rational explanations rarely solve the problem because the issue isn't rational. It's emotional and energetic. Learn to recognize when a person is genuinely open to dialogue and growth versus when they're simply discharging their internal frustrations onto you. If someone is consistently misinterpreting your intentions, creating unnecessary dramas, or refusing to see your perspective even when you communicate clearly, this is a sign that the issue is beyond what words can resolve. In these cases, the wisest response is to maintain your inner peace and allow the person to work through their own issues in their own time. Your energy is too precious to be wasted trying to convince someone who isn't ready to see the truth. The fourth step is to fully embrace your nature as a spiritual catalyst instead of trying to minimize or hide it. You were born to be an agent of transformation in this world, and this inevitably means your presence will discomfort those who are attached to the status quo of their lives. Instead of seeing this as a problem, start seeing it as your unique contribution to the evolution of human consciousness. Every person who reacts negatively to your energy is being gifted with an opportunity for growth, even if they don't recognize it in the moment. You don't need to diminish yourself to make others feel comfortable in their limitations. In fact, doing so would be a disservice to both you and them. When you shine in your total authenticity, you give permission for others to do the same. When you hide or diminish yourself, you reinforce the belief that it's safer to live an inauthentic life. Your brightness is a gift to the world, even when the world isn't yet ready to receive it completely. Finally, develop a consistent spiritual practice that keeps you connected to your inner source of strength and wisdom. This can include daily meditation, time in nature, journaling to process your experiences, or any practice that helps you remember who you really are beyond others' reactions. When you're firmly rooted in your own spiritual truth, others' emotional storms can't knock you down. You become like a tree with deep roots. You can sway with the wind, but remain firm and centered. Remember daily that you are a being of infinite light, having a temporary human experience, and that your mission here is much greater than the interpersonal dramas that may arise along the way. Always keep in mind that every challenge you face is preparing you to serve at an even higher level, and that your ability to navigate these complex dynamics with wisdom and compassion is part of your spiritual training for the greater mission you came to fulfill in this life. We've reached the end of this revelation journey, and I hope you now understand that you're not imagining these complex dynamics happening around you. You're not paranoid, you're not too sensitive, and you're definitely not the problem. You are a spiritually awakened being, carrying a light that naturally exposes unresolved shadows in people around you, and this is a sacred gift, not a curse. The fights that seem to be about you, the lies about true feelings, the inexplicable hostility, all of this are automatic reactions to your elevated vibrational frequency. You are a spiritual catalyst, a living mirror that accelerates healing and growth processes in others, even when they resist this transformation. Your mission is not to dim your light to make others feel comfortable, but rather to learn to navigate these dynamics with wisdom, energetic protection, and compassion, always staying true to your authenticity. Always remember, you are a chosen one, and this means your journey will be different, more challenging, but infinitely more meaningful than most people can understand. Your sensitivity to others' energies isn't a weakness. It's a spiritual superpower that allows you to serve as a beacon of light in a world that desperately needs more authenticity and truth. Every person who reacts negatively to your energy is being gifted with an opportunity for growth, and you're fulfilling your divine purpose simply by being who you are. Don't let others' reactions make you question your worth or convince you to hide your light. The world needs you shining at your maximum power, because that's how you inspire others to find their own inner light and the courage to live authentically. Now I want to hear from you. Leave a comment telling me which of these dynamics most resonates with your experience. Have you noticed people lying about what they feel for you? Have you experienced inexplicable hostility from people who barely know you? Share your story so other members of our community know they're not alone in this journey. And if this video brought clarity and relief to your soul, please share it with someone you know is going through similar situations. It might be exactly the validation that person needs to stop blaming themselves and start embracing their chosen nature. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, do it now and activate the bell so you don't miss any revelation that can transform your understanding of your spiritual journey. And if you want to be part of a community of awakened souls who support each other on this path, consider becoming a channel member for access to exclusive content and deeper connections with other chosen ones. Until our next meeting, continue shining your authentic light in the world. You are more powerful and important than you imagine.